Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com and the Pewter Report podcast. It is a Monday edition of the show, and we want to wish everybody a happy Victory Monday as the Buccaneers are 3-1 heading into an early bye week, but maybe, just maybe, an important early bye week. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. And Scott, momentum is great. Might be stalled a little bit going into the bye week, but you got to be feeling pretty good about these Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, for real, Matt. It's kind of funny because this was a big time win, and I think the Buccaneers would be itching to get back out there, right? To get out there and play again and kind of get that feeling under their belts. At the same time, this is a team that's kind of banged up. Even we were talking to Luke Gedeke today. He didn't show up on the injury report or whatever. There isn't one yet, but he's dealing with the calf injury. He's like, yeah, I was actually playing against Cam Jordan with one calf yesterday. So great stuff from Gedeke. We'll get into that more later today and also on Wednesday's show. But yeah, I mean, if this team can get healthy and more importantly, stay healthy after the bye week, look out. This could be a very dangerous Buccaneer team. It's shaping up. The NFC South is what we thought it was. Now, these teams can improve, Buccaneers included, but right now we're kind of seeing mediocrity around the NFC South, except for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't see why not. If this team stays healthy, especially at key positions, why they can't three-peat as NFC South champions and make the playoffs again.
And even at their key positions, they've had injuries and still have been able to overcome it. Mike Evans getting injured yesterday.
Right.
Everyone else rallied around it. Kalijah Cansey not playing since the first game. D-line is still holding it together. Not perfect. And then, of course, Zion McCollum stepping in for both Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean at two obviously different times of the season early on. So, the Bucs are getting contributions from everybody across the board. And it's everything that we talked about with Baker Mayfield and just this team in general of they don't have to do anything flashy or super special because of the division that they are in. And right now, the Bucs are just standing there watching everybody else around them implode. I mean, the Panthers have no weapons on offense, and Bryce Young clearly looks like a fish out of water that's still trying to understand what it means to play or what it's like to play in the NFL. The Falcons clearly have an issue at quarterback with their own situation. And then you saw with the Saints yesterday, like they trust Jameis Winston so little that they would rather have, injured Drew Brees 2.0 with Derek Carr going out there, dumping it off to Alvin Kamara 13 times for 33 yards. I mean, right now, the Bucs have the best quarterback in the NFC South, and they're not doing too much. They're not trying too hard. They're just sticking to what they know, and what they know is tough, hard-nosed football and grittiness, and that's why they're in the driver's seat at 3-1.
Yeah, and it's interesting, kind of what you learn after, a game like this. Some news that I'll kind of share with you here, Pewter people. Mike Evans' hamstring injury is not nearly as bad as the team feared it was yesterday, and they didn't think it was that bad yesterday.
Yeah,
they feel they're hopefully optimistic he plays in week 6. So could he play this week? I don't know, but didn't have to, right? There's a bye week to contend with here. So there is a chance that Mike Evans could play against the Detroit Lions. With Mike being a bit of a fashion guy, wearing the throwback jerseys and some bling in those post-game press conferences, he wants to wear the orange creamsicle jersey and not just on the sidelines, right, without shoulder pads. He wants the full get up, the helmet, everything. He wants to be active for that game, and I'm sure he'll do everything he can to get back because they're going to need him. I mean, the beauty of playing the Lions, Matt, next, this is a very hot team, a very good team. And they're going to play the Carolina Panthers next, probably keep the Panthers winless, add another win to their total. So they're going to be coming in 4-1 to Raymond James Stadium. They're a formidable foe and opponent. They're not as good as the Eagles, but they're better than the Saints.
Yes.
So this will be a very good measuring stick game for the Buccaneers in terms of where they stack up against teams that they will be contending with if they don't win the NFC South championship outright and have to get into the playoffs that way. If they've got to get in through a wild card, the Lions might be division winners themselves, but they also might be in contention. They were in a wild card spot last year, missed it by 1 game. So this will be a really good test after the bye week for Tampa Bay.
And that's why it's important, once again, that they keep stacking these wins against NFC teams. And granted, like, they don't make the schedule. They've pretty much only, not even pretty much, they've only played NFC teams. So you can only play the opponent in front of you. But the way that it's all shaping out in the NFC, and yes, the Bucs want to win the division. That's obviously the main goal.
Right.
But at this point, at 3-1, you have to reassess the expectations of this team, regardless of whether it was national expectations or expectations from local media like ourselves. Right. This team is in a situation right now, regardless of what happens against Detroit, where even if they don't win the division, they are, as they put up the graphic, on Sunday Night Football, in the hunt. They will be in the hunt as the season continues to go on. Now, they can't overlook Carolina, because we all remember what happened last season when they were a heavy favorite. But overall, you have to like what this team is bringing to the table each week. I think Todd Bowles said it best, where he was like, listen, it's not pretty every single week. Have we made mistakes? Yes, absolutely. But we're tough, and when we play tough, we give ourselves a chance against anyone. So I think, especially speaking to Luke Gedeke today, everyone just kind of believes in each other. They rally around each other. It's a little bit of us against the world when everyone doubted them and everyone wrote them off after Tom Brady left. And maybe they're kind of taking over the mantra of their new quarterback, Baker Mayfield, with that chip on his shoulder. But it's worked to a T with this team, and it really seems like whatever is thrown their way, and they've had a lot thrown their way already through 4 games, they've really been able to weather the storm quite well, including injuries.
No, you're exactly right. And, this is a team that believes in itself, and part of the job of a coach is there's three main jobs that any coach has at any level: Pop Warner, high school, college, and pro on the football side. The first is you have to obviously know what you're talking about and implement a scheme that works, right? You have to make sure that you have the players to run your scheme, but part of it is scheming. It's studying the opponent, right? Coming up with the game plans and then calling on your players to execute them. The second phase is player development. Can you coach a player to become a better version of himself, right? We've seen what stagnant coaching has done. Sometimes it's kept players from reaching their true potential and getting the most out of their abilities. The third aspect, Matt, is belief, right? Do the players believe in the coach? Does the coach believe in them? That's a two-way street. It's a very important two-way street. And with belief, sometimes belief can make you play better than maybe you actually could or should, right? Belief is that underdog realm that you enter, and that's what makes upsets happen, right? Is when you just believe you're going to beat the other team. And because if you go in without confidence, you're not going to play well and you're not going to win. And that to me is one of the big things that Dave Canales has brought to this team, is just the energy. And as Long Lost Leisure says, Canales' press conference are so refreshing and informative. Loved his ball finds energy comment today, and using basketball references of breaking towards the basket. He is an excellent communicator. He makes you believe, and not just the players, the media too. Like, we believe, like in Dave Canales, right? It's sometimes it's easy to sit there and say, all right, well, you're talking the talk and you walk the walk, because at the end of the day, this is a performance-based business. But there's something believable about Dave Canales, and there's little insights that he kind of spews out there at us, like the two that Long Lost Leisure was referencing. That's either really insightful for him to kind of make some of those teachable analogies, or he's a really good listener and he's absorbed from all of his mentors and he's retained some of the stuff that he can spit out on his own and impart that wisdom onto players. And in this case, the media and the fans too. So, it's early, but so far Dave Canales has lived up to the hype.
Oh, without question. And I think he's still getting better and better each week. I mean, he was answering a question that you asked him about just his overall self-assessment of what he thinks or how he's done so far. And he was honest about a lot of different things that he had to say. But yeah, I think he's a great communicator, and he understands that not every single person receives a message the same way, whether it's talking to Chris Godwin about something versus Rakim Jarrett. The message has to be different to every single person on this team to get everyone linked together and unified together. And that's why as it goes on, when the communication is stronger and there's just more of an understanding between everybody, I think that's why you saw the Bucs score their most points of the season and the most points against the Saints by any team this season. It's no surprise that the further we go along, the more that this offense is gelling, whether or not Mike Evans is in the lineup, because they scored their most points of the season and Mike Evans wasn't even there for the third and fourth quarter. So what does that say about this offense? They've obviously been able to produce in many different ways, which has been great. We have a super chat from DP Buck 32. Thanks a lot for the $5 super chat. DP Buck says, love the show. A+ for Canales yesterday. Love how he got the young receivers Tompkins and Palmer involved. Question, when does Kalijah Kancey come back?
I think he comes back for this next game. Otherwise, the Bucs would have placed him on injured reserve, because you can, with the short-term IR, I thought Dave, or I should say Greg Allman asked that question or kind of made that point to Todd Bowles. This has kind of been kind of a wait-and-see injury, like a week-by-week kind of thing, but they had enough confidence that he'd be back right around this time, maybe for the game prior to the bye week or the game after the bye week. I think that was kind of the target, and that's why they didn't put him on injured reserve. So knowing that, an extra week off, I have to think that he starts practicing next week after the bye, and then they see how he fares with that calf injury, and hopefully he's ready to go, because this Bucs pass rush is good. I think it could be great when you add him, even if he's not the driver of getting sacks himself. He will drive the quarterback, either flush him left or right towards JTS or towards Shaq Barrett. Or maybe it's a thing where, he zooms up the field, forces the quarterback to step up into the pocket and elude him. And all of a sudden, Vita Vea is there for, his 4th and a half sack this year. So
absolutely,
I'm going to be excited to see Kalijah Kancey's impact on this defense when he returns.
Yeah, he played 11 snaps in week 1, his only action ever in the NFL, including the preseason, and was still able to get a hit on the quarterback. And I do think his addition will help out everyone else, especially the outside linebackers, which Todd Bowles said that, they're doing their job, but part of their job is getting sacks and everything like that. And they haven't necessarily done that just yet. I'll get to Paul's super chat in just a moment. Thank you very much, Paul, for it. But Bowles, as we mentioned, was asked about some of the players returning from the bye, the players that were out, namely Kalijah Kancey and Jamel Dean. And he said, I would hope so. We'll see how they progress this week. They have a week to get better, and we'll reevaluate once the next week starts. But we would hope to have a lot of people back by then. And then specifically asked about Kalijah Kancey and his calf injury. He said, it's the kind of pain that's a tolerated type of deal. You want him 100%. He came back last time. He felt it a little bit, so you want to be a little more cautious this time. So he's essentially alluding to that they're taking their time with Kalijah Kancey because they don't want that injury to flare up just yet. But let's get to Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dreamhouse's $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Paul, who says, first, my dubbing Matty Diamonds is catching on. It is, Paul. Thank you so much, because you can't give yourself
That's a great nickname.
So
That's
I
right. That's
appreciate
awesome.
Great calls, Matty Diamond. Second, where are the Baker Bashers and Traskaholics? They've disappeared. Well, thanks again for the shout out. My picks went 4-3 this week, including hitting the Bucs, and my props were like 4-1. So my props were fantastic as well. As to the second part, I think people really like to nitpick on, Baker made this one overthrow. I was even angry about it in the first quarter. He overthrew Chris Godwin on the first drive, but Baker stays with it. He does it gritty. He rushes for first downs. He had 3 touchdowns passing in the game. Haters going to hate, but, Baker's going to keep doing his thing.
at the same time, it's a long season, right? And we saw what an injured David Carr was, what Derek Carr was relegated to yesterday, right? He was relegated to check downs. The Bucs, and I talked to one of the higher ups last night after the game and said we wanted to face Derek Carr. We didn't want to face Jameis Winston. Not that we're not afraid of Winston, but yeah, if they're going to trot out a limited Derek Carr, sure, why not? Yeah, you want to do that, and we know you're going to check it down all day long to Kamara. We'll rally and tackle. That's fine. And I asked another Bucs insider of mine. I said, so I haven't had a chance to watch the All-22 yet. Who was responsible for holding Chris Olave to one catch for 4 yards? Was it Zion McCollum? Was it Carlton Davis? Was it Christian Izien? Or was it all three? You know what the answer was? Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the one who held Chris Olave to one catch for 4 yards, right?
Yeah, Olave seemed open at times. Like even Jameis's interception, it was just underthrown by Jameis, and that's why D. Delaney got the pick. I mean, shout out to D for the play. But yeah, I'm with you. Olave had some moments. He was open on that big play to that Antoine Winfield Jr. broke up as well, but the throw just wasn't there.
Yeah. So, that's part of it is when you're facing a quarterback like that it gets injured, the performance drops. And so as much as I want to, pencil in Baker Mayfield for the Pro Bowl, like Geno Smith had last year in the same offense in Seattle, it's setting up to where this could be the same path that Baker's taking, that Geno Smith took, 4,000 yards, first Pro Bowl as a journeyman quarterback, right, age 32. We just have to wait and see, right? I mean, Baker got hurt yesterday. He was able to game through it and all that, but one injury, and all of a sudden, ask the Cleveland Browns about the 2021 Baker Mayfield. Not as good as the 2020 version. So I love this version of Baker. Got to stay healthy and finish the season strong. But yeah, he's so far so great.
Scott, I'm 100% with you. First of all, I mentally prepared for Kyle Trask to come into the game after after Baker got hit and folded like an accordion on the touchdown to Cade Otton. I think there's reason to be concerned. I love the way that Baker plays, but he's proven it himself. That's not necessarily a sustainable way to play quarterback and play all 17 games. There is proof in the pudding that Baker has gotten injured before. And when can he fully recover? How long does that take? That remains to be seen. But I'm not trying to put it out there, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see someone else playing quarterback for the Bucs this season because of an injury. But we have another super chat to get to. Yep. Shout out to Sean. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat, who says, "Hey, PR, do you buy Canales' explanation for moving Vaughn up the depth chart? Or do you think that Tucker was relegated to third string due to his performance?" Before we answer that, we actually have Dave Canales' answer about what he saw from Keyshawn Vaughn. So why not play it since
Let's do it.
The number 2 back instead of Sean Tucker. And it looked like, for a minute there, like he was going to get as many opportunities as Rashad did.
Yeah, playing, who's been around playing against the Saints longer than Sneak, as far as in the backfield goes. So he's got the experience. This is a really good defense. They do a lot of cool things, whether it's first, second, or third down in some of the packaging. And we felt like Sneak gave us the best opportunity that if they did do something exotic, he would have the eyes that has seen it. If they did something in the run game, he'd be able to find his way through those things. And I thought he did a great job, in the role that he played.
Whether it was a big third down conversion to Chris Godwin late in the game or the touchdown to Devin Tompkins, the offense continuously showed up in big moments. Can you speak about them just showing up when it was most clutch and needed?
Yeah, I mean, it starts up front. So what we're learning about our offensive line is it's a really good pass protecting group. They got us a couple times. That happens to everybody. But they continue to show us their ability to do that. So it starts there. But then Baker, just making great decisions, and they got us on a penalty on one. The ball didn't quite get to the line of scrimmage, but his decision-making process has been so good. The confidence is growing for the group.
You fans want it. Look at you.
Wow.
You're looking at the clock. You're saying, okay, enough Dave Canales. We want roll call in this Victory Monday. Roll call. Where are you at, Pewter people? Let's get to it, Matt. Why don't you put the names up? I got a little bit of a rant I can go.
All right. I love it. Yeah, start putting your location where you're watching from, and we will throw it on the screen, starting off with Gary Buff.
All right. So my little rant today is about, one of the least popular people in Tampa Bay. Not with every Buccaneer fan, but you guys might know him. This guy right here, Todd Bowles, right? Dead man walking, coach on the hot seat, et cetera, et cetera. Let's just tank for Caleb Williams and get this guy out of here. Get a real coach. We want an offensive-minded play calling coach rather than a defensive-minded coach. Those guys aren't in fashion anymore. Well, I'll just say this, folks. Do you remember when the Buccaneers simply could not beat the New Orleans Saints? Just couldn't beat him, right? This guy right here, Todd Bowles. He's beaten him 3 straight times. Now, granted, the Saints are not nearly as formidable as they were when Drew Brees was the quarterback and, of course, the Hall of Famer that he is. But here's the thing. It still takes defense to win championships, right? Matter of fact, the Bucs only have 2 Super Bowl championships, and I think the defense played really well in both of those, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't the 3 pick sixes and the 5 interceptions in the 2002 Super Bowl, then maybe you like the fact that Patrick Mahomes and that high-flying Chiefs offense was held out of the end zone in a 31-9 win in Super Bowl 55 in 2020. Well, Todd Bowles knows that in order to have a good season, you've got to make the playoffs, and of course, winning the division will get you in the playoffs. That's something Tampa Bay has done twice now. Todd Bowles' mastery of the New Orleans Saints, we need to pause and kind of admire this because the Saints for the longest time have been the bully on the block. Now Bowles is the bully on the block. Todd Bowles is the guy that has the Saints number, and it's showing up. The last 4 games that the Bucs have played the Saints, and I say 4 because it's important to point out that they lost to the Saints in 2021 at home in a 9-0 game. Remember that? Yep. Chris Godwin remembers that. He tore his ACL. Mike Evans was knocked out of that game as well, and so was Leonard Fournette. It was a bloodbath for the Buccaneers. But keep in mind that Tampa Bay's defense only allowed the Saints to score 9 points in that game. Mm-hmm. And then the next year in 2022, we saw what happened in week 2. The Bucs beat the Saints 20-10. And then they came back to beat them at Raymond James Stadium 17-16 with Rachaad White scoring the game-winning touchdown with just seconds left. Now it's 26-9. So the important thing if you're Todd Bowles is the second number in each one of those statements. The 10 points that the Saints scored in week 2 last year, the 16 points that the Saints scored in the second rematch game in 2022, or the 9 points that they scored yesterday. This team, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, it's Todd Bowles' team, and he wants to score more points. He wants to have an offense that scores more than 18 points per game. That's why he hired Dave Canales, right? He doesn't want a conservative type of approach. Look at Canales yesterday, calling end arounds to Devin Tompkins for 11 yards, wide receiver passes from Chris Godwin to Trey Palmer, not to mention a little bit of an exotic formation, lining up Luke Gedeke, the right tackle, at left tackle, next to left tackle Tristan Wirfs. So he's really a big tight end in that situation. But just thinking outside the box, this is what Todd Bowles implored Byron Leftwich to do last year. He implored him to do that during the offseason. Hey, the Arians playbook, it's good, but it's also old. Look around the league. Mm-hmm. Steal, borrow from the best, right? Look at college football. Think outside the box. Byron Leftwich didn't do that, much to Todd Bowles' dismay. What are we seeing Dave Canales do? Bring innovation, ingenuity, some fresh ideas, some fresh plays, a little trickeration, some misdirection. Oh, and by the way, he is also incorporating what Mike McDaniels is doing down there in Miami and Kyle Shanahan is doing out west in San Francisco with that pre-snap quick motion with your fastest receivers. We've seen Devin Tompkins do that and Trey Palmer as well. Anything to gain an edge over your opponent. And that's why Todd Bowles has hands off with Dave Canales. He knows that he's got a guy that's an outside-the-box thinker. He trusts him, and he's focusing on his side of the ball while Dave Canales is focusing on his. So far, it's been a great match. 3-1 record. No sign of Todd Bowles being on the hot seat. Again, it's early. We'll see how it finishes. But so far, so great for Todd Bowles, his defense, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Todd Bowles showing why he's a defensive mastermind. And it kind of goes back to his press conference last week where he's like, I'm not going to be over the shoulder of Dave Canales telling him what to do. Yeah. I'm going to let him be the offensive coordinator. And Bowles even said today, we have the video, I'll play it in a second, when asked about everything that Canales did with the motion. And by the way, it's multiple guys in motion, too. It's not just Evan Tompkins. Chris Godwin went in motion a bunch of times. Even Mike Evans went in motion.
That's right.
Here and there when he was in the game. But Bowles said that he loves it, what Dave Canales is doing with just throwing so many different things at the opponent.
Man, I love it. It's important to keep teams off balance when you got them on the run. You don't want to do the same things over and over again. It keeps everybody interested. Everybody can touch the ball on offense. Makes everybody want to play harder, play faster, and it's motivational. And, he did a heck of a job calling it.
And Dave Canales spoke about it, too. So let's hear from the man that we call the human Celsius.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun for sure. To that point, the guys do enjoy that, as long as they're a part of the play, because, again, that's a lot of mileage, for if we aren't giving them, an opportunity for the ball. But, I think in a drive like that against a defense like this, I just wasn't going to try to make it this macho, mano and mano type of things. There's ways to do that. Make them work. And I think coming out of the first 3 games, I just felt like, maybe I wasn't trying hard enough to just get first downs, make yards while we're learning the core of our system, while we're trying to learn the fundamental blocking schemes that we got to get good at, the reads for the backs. We talk a lot about the rhythm of the backs over the last couple of weeks, but the combos up front, we have to be able to practice all that. But while we're getting those things, try harder to get first downs, try harder to make yards, and I was happy about that yesterday.
Shout out to Salty Buccaneer. Thank you very much for the $1.99 super chat, who says 3-1. We have a quarterback. Enough said. That they do. But you heard me call Dave Canales the human Celsius.
That's right.
That's a great time to remind everybody that Celsius is the presenting sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. There's so many great flavors. The Cosmic Vibe is the newest one, but you can't go wrong with any of them. I had the strawberry lemonade yesterday. You see the sparkling lemon lime on there. Arctic Vibe is my personal favorite. There is no sugar. There's no post-energy drink crash or jitters that you might get with another product out there. So if you want to try out Celsius and you haven't before and you want to know where to find one, that's totally cool. That's actually great and encouraged. Go to the Celsius store locator on their website, punch in your address, and it'll tell you the closest location where you could pick one up, whether that's your local Walmart, Target, convenience store, health and fitness store, or your potentially owned by bodega. As Scott Jack says, Yaya's restaurant in a bodega, Jamaica. I saw that during roll call. But once you know you love Celsius and you want to get more, that's when you do the subscribe and save. Going over to Amazon, get that variety pack, because variety is the spice of life. You can have it sent to your residence whenever you want. It could be a week, quarterly, monthly, yearly. You set the tempo. You set the tone on your own terms. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks. Make Celsius your number one pick, the official energy drink of the Pewter Report podcast.
It's awesome, right? It's like when you order Celsius with the subscribe and save, you save money, and then Amazon brings it to your door. It's like you get to schedule your own Christmas, man. It's like you get like a present, like, ooh, my box of Celsius is here, So good stuff on Celsius. Can't live without it.
We have a couple super chats to get to.
This one was first here.
Thank you to Matthew, great name, with the $2 super chat, who says 36 likes, 286 watching. Let's help hydrate. Hit the like button. Yeah, please do. Yep. Please like. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the page. It helps out with our followers and all the stuff with our YouTube channel. So please go ahead and like and subscribe. And we got a $19.99 super chat from Donta Mason. Thank you so much, Donta, who says, hi guys, I love the show. Hate all the sports talk shows. Had the Bucs at 1-3. Boy, were they wrong. LFG, fire the cannons with a number of cannonballs. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Thank you for the super chat. We tried to tell you guys that this team was going to be better than what most people think. And we're not just blowing smoke. We're not just being like, hey, everything's great with the Bucs. Everything's fantastic. No, this team clearly has issues. And when they go up against the Bills and they go up against the 49ers, we're probably going to sit here and say it's going to be very dicey for this team. But in these coin flip type of games, these, winnable matchups, the Bucs have to take advantage of it. And through 3 coin flip games, in my opinion, they're 3-0. You have to be ecstatic about that.
Yeah, when you have a +7 turnover margin, and that's what the Bucs are at right now, right? That's playing really good football. You're protecting it on the offensive side. You're going to take it away on the defensive side. And through the first 4 games last year, the Bucs had 10 takeaways on defense, Matt, and they have 10 now. But the difference is they only gave it away 3 times as opposed to 5 times last year. And those turnovers, man, especially you saw real quick, right, how that forced fumble recovery by Antoine Winfield just turned into a touchdown, right? It gave the Buccaneers a second chance, their offense a second chance, and man, it was it was a quick touchdown. I loved how they didn't settle for the field goal down there. They got aggressive, went for the touchdown. And that's nice to see this kind of go for the jugular approach. I mean, Dave Canales is a nice guy. He wants to kill you on Sundays, man. Like he does. He dials it up. He dials it up, and he goes for broke. He wants to win. And I appreciate his aggressive coaching style. And I think as he gets more comfortable and knows the strengths and weaknesses better, of not just the players and how they fit into this scheme, but also his own tendencies. I think he's only going to be more effective, more aggressive, and more dangerous as a play caller as the season goes on.
They're not playing scared, which I think is super important, because you see that a lot from teams. They build a lead and, they just want to run it or be conservative. They're not playing scared at all. And I think that was best proved by, throwing it again after through that interception and the Devin Tompkins touchdowns, because like the Chargers, for example, why do teams always come back against the Chargers at least?
Right.
Because probably in crunch time, they're not doing what they need to do. But no, the Bucs always stay aggressive. And to your point, I think they'll be even better as this team is more comfortable with each other, at least on offense. We got another super chat from Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dreamhouse. Thank you, Paul, for the $5 super chat, who says, this super chat's for Celsius. Prior to hitting the Kingdom last Thursday while vacationing, it was the, in all caps, real deal. Orange is the truth.
Yeah.
I agree with you more.
Well said.
The first flavors I had, and I instantly became a huge fan of it. So don't sleep on the OG. The orange is great.
Yeah, it really is. I go with orange about 80% of the time, especially in the morning, and I love it.
I implore everyone in the Bucs next game 2 weeks from now, have an orange Celsius on game day, because they're going to be rocking the creamsicle. Yeah,
no doubt about it. Crafty Chris, a.k.a. Izzian, is my favorite sleeper player on the team. Yeah, he's a great dude, too. We actually gotten to know Chris. We're going to have him on the Pewter Report podcast sooner rather than later. He wants to come on. So he's a really good interview. We enjoy talking with him. One of the cool, new, fresh faces that the Bucs have on the team. And there'll be some more new faces next year for sure. Scott, I'm confident we have our right guard, left tackle, and right tackle of the future, but interior O-line help is a must this offseason. Yeah, I think Robert Hainsey's best attribute, and I think Luke Gedeke pointed this out today for us, Matt, is he calls Hainsey the root of the tree, right? He makes the correct line calls. And so I think that is a big reason why Hainsey is still in the lineup, even though he's not playing the best football. He's probably the weak link, as Josh Capo has pointed out. I agree with that. I think that if you're ranking the offensive linemen in Tampa Bay from 1 to 5, you have Tristan Wirfs 1, Luke Gedeke 2.
Who would thought we would have said
right?
That?
But Hainsey is number 5, right? So
yeah,
that's a position they're probably going to have to address. Not that Hainsey is going to be cut; he's under contract next year. He'll be in a contract year, but you got to add some competition there for the Bucs. Center position. It has been a noticeable drop off from Pro Bowl level, healthy Ryan Jensen to Robert Hainsey.
Yeah, and that's kind of the one spot on the offensive line where if something happens to Hainsey, you're kind of like, what do they do next? Obviously, you got Nick Leverett in there, but don't love what he does at center versus what he does at offensive guard. So,
Right.
yeah, draft prep next year is definitely we'll be hitting the interior offensive linemen pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, speaking of hitting, we've got a comment here. Oh, I just saw it. It just had it queued up, and then it escaped me. So I'll find it. But go ahead.
Pretty much that was the last thing I wanted to say was that they're going to be looking at
here it is.
Interior offensive lineman. What do you got for me?
Well, sometimes there's no super chat here, and that's okay, Luke. We're not going to request a super chat every time we put your comment up here, but sometimes we listen to what our Pewter people tell us to do, whether they want us to answer a question or give an opinion about something, and sometimes it's play a commercial. So we're going to do that. We're going to roll the Muni Financial tape. Let's go to Colorado.
At Muni Financial, we help you live in the now.
Congratulations. We're so happy for you.
Thank you.
And even though the now may feel very different, you still need to plan for the future.
How's retirement treating you? Oh, just fantastic.
I know I say it all the time, but you really got to come up to Colorado.
Let's do it. All right.
Yeah. We can help you develop that plan to keep you on track, so you can still prepare for tomorrow, today. Muni Financial. Plan ahead, stay ahead.
I'm not going to Colorado this week, but I'm going to Bozeman, Montana on Wednesday. I'm excited.
Cool.
Appreciate the intro there, Luke. Yeah, we're happy to help out. Listen, folks, if you want to vacation, if you want to retire somewhere nice, whether it's the mountains of Montana or the sunny Gulf Shore of St. Petersburg or Clearwater, Florida, you need to make sure that you have the right financial investor in your corner. You've got to have the right financial team on your side, and managing your family's wealth means more to Muni Financial than simply allocating your assets. It means legacy planning, brokerage and advisory services, retirement accounts, college savings accounts, and insurance services. Folks, they've got over 40 years of experience here in the Tampa Bay area, but they can help anybody in the Tampa Bay area, in the state of Florida, or across the United States of America. So even if you're out of state, give a Muni Financial a call. Give them a call at 1-800-868-6864 or visit them on the web at immuni.com and find out why I've picked Muni Financial to be the financial planner for me with the vast majority of my assets, because they do a great job. Get to know David and Mark and the whole team over there. Bunch of great people that have that'll put together the winning game plan for you when it comes to your finances. Again, visit them on the web at immuni.com, Muni Financial.
We got a comment from Cartier Walker, Pewter and Red, who said, I know Mark Cook would be proud of this team, with a couple emojis. It says, fight, hunt, resilience. I could see Mark being like, a baker and a cook residing in the Tampa area, everyone can still function together.
Right.
I don't know. He'd have some type of little joke about that for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, he would also do a What's Cooking episode with Baker.
Yes,
Mayfield. That would be like off the chain too. So yeah, I miss that guy every day. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about Mark Cook, and whether it's the Knowles doing really well or the Buccaneers with their resurgence here. I mean, he's up there. When he's not watching football, he's jamming with Jimmy Buffett and Elvis Presley.
Yes.
And John Lennon.
Guys from Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah. He's having a blast with the best seats in the house. We miss him.
Yes.
We'll all be together one day.
Yeah. Definitely miss Mark. But thank you very much for the comment. Let's get to a couple of the videos that we got going on.
Yeah,
I saw that before from Grizz.
This is true. G Vega says ad reads keep the podcast going. That's true. Yeah, we love doing this for you Pewter people. We also love feeding our families too. So they have to go hand in hand. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Todd Bowles said yesterday after the game, he said we're morphing into a physical football team, and I was curious if he meant like specifically the offensive line or the defensive line, if there was a key moment But it's really about just in general the toughness of this team.
A physical team. So I'm just curious if there's a specific area where you notice it most, whether it's a position group or a moment over the past couple of games.
I don't think it was a position group. I think it's the team as a whole. You know, we've been playing tough. We've made mistakes, no question about it. We've been playing tough, and we give ourselves a chance. We clean up the mistakes, we got a chance to be a decent team.
And then I really admired what Dave Canales had to say. Another question that you asked Scott about how he would kind of grade himself through these first 4 games, what he needs to work on, what he's liked, other things that he wants to implement more. And I think a lot of people will take a lot from his answer.
Who does this?
But you're also learning about yourself as a play caller. Through
Yeah.
4 games, where do you see yourself wanting to or needing to improve as the season goes on for the bye week?
Yeah, just the run game flow, just understanding what the defensive plan is to try to take away, some of our core runs and being able to make a transition in the run game better. That's, I think, my biggest growth curve. I've watched coordinators get really good at that. I was with Brian Schottenheimer, Shane Waldron, Darryl Bevel before that. And that's something that they would kind of grow through in the first couple drives, and by the second quarter, they're kind of like, I see what they're trying to do here. And then you see some chunk runs happen because of these adjustments. And I just feel like that's a place where, I haven't quite wrapped my brain around yet. And then, situationally, just, learning in the red zone, just the balance of run and pass there that can continue, as you go through it. And I think we've done a better job in the last couple of weeks being more balanced down there instead of I get so excited to throw Chris and Mike touchdowns when we get inside the 15, that you can't forget, best red zone teams every year are the ones that run the ball for touchdowns in the red zone as well. So, and then that opens things up, for the whole offense when you can be balanced all the way down.
Who is this guy? Who does this? Who's that transparent up there in a press conference like that? It's crazy. Yeah. Like his self-awareness and self-confidence is just, it's stunning to me. It just is.
He's not afraid to, I think there's certain, Bowles is this to a degree where it's I don't want to say anything because it could give an advantage to the opponent or something like that. I think that comes a lot with injuries or pulling teeth, just be like, is this guy out on Friday? When we're talking to him. Yeah. But Canales is like, nah, this is what needs to do better. This is where we're great. If you could stop it, hats off to you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing, especially after years of Byron Leftwich. You would kind of take offense to tough questions, You think
I need to get better as an offensive? That's how he would respond to that. He would laugh it off and be like, we're pretty good.
Oh, that's just fantasy football stuff, right? It's no, these are real analytics. We're asking you some real analytical questions that are rooted in facts and statistics. And that's fantasy football stuff. Yeah. So it's refreshing to get the unvarnished truth. And it's totally truth. It's there's no false pretenses.
He's a very intent listener too, which I think is great. And then he'll also go on his own tangents, which is kind of fun sometimes too.
Yep. Appreciate the $5 super chat here from Shaggy. I was given a gnome in Bucs gear for Father's Day. I named him Cookie. That's awesome. Very Mark Hook would love that. Mark Hook would be laughing his ass off right now. So
yes, he would.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate that a ton. Some other good stuff. I see some people in the comments. Analytics equals no logic.
No logic.
I saw some people again, saying that they won some money with my picks on Pewter Picks and Props, which was great. Of course, that show, which will be back again on Friday, even though the Bucs aren't playing, I will be making some NFL picks. So if you watch the rest of the games this week, I know I will be. I'm going to be doing my picks on Friday for Pewter Picks and Props. But, of course, that's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You got to get involved with their Pick'em game. It's the funnest single fantasy player game that you can get involved with. You just pick the higher or lower on a various number of stats for whatever players you want to choose. You have to pick between 2 and 5 players, and the more picks you make, the more money that you can win. So whether it's passing yards for a quarterback, rushing yards for a running back, whatever it is, the more picks you make, the more you can win, which is super fun. But you also should think about the insurance, because if you make 4 picks and 3 of the 4 hit, with no insurance, you don't win anything. If you do the insurance, you would still walk away with more money in your pocket if you hit 3 out of the 4. So Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code Pewter, Pewter. Ton of fun games to play, from the pick'em to the rivals, a lot of in-game tournaments. And check out Underdog Fantasy and check out Peter Picks and Props if you want to keep winning, because I keep winning.
Yeah, there you go. Plant City math for the win, as Christopher Oxington says. Yeah, man. Listen, the cool thing about Underdog Fantasy, and this is not part of the ad read, just my personal experience here, is I'm not a huge fantasy football person. I love to set it and forget it. And of course, that time's come and gone. That ship has sailed. That's before the season. So, I mean, I'm saddled with Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the year, even though he's not playing, right? He's one of my quarterbacks. But hey, I also got Josh Allen, so I'm not too bad. But what's even more fun than the traditional fantasy football is the pick'ems.
Yes.
I love the pick'em. I love, that little guess game of is Rachaad White going to rush for more than 45 yards, et cetera? Is Mike going to have more than 5 catches?
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And honestly, I enjoy that part of Underdog Fantasy even more than I do Best Ball Mania and some of the other games. They're great. I'm not knocking them. But this is like a fresh chance to play a new game every single week as the NFL week rolls on, Matt.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you, especially if it's 2 teams you don't care about. Like, if you're an NFL fan, you're probably watching Monday Night Football tonight between the Giants and the Seahawks. So you might have a hunch like, I think Geno Smith is going to ball out tonight, or I think Daniel Jones is going to have a rushing touchdown. You can go to Underdog Fantasy and put those props in and win some money if you got that.
This Matty Diamond nickname has really caught on, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Matty Diamond's making the Immuni Financial Advisors working overtime. I love that.
By the way, have to give a shout out to Narav, who just had that comment, because he had a comment yesterday during the Pewter Game Day show. It was when we were all hyping up Antoine Winfield Jr. for the great game that he had.
Yeah.
And said Antoine Celsius Winfield Jr., saying Celsius, which I could not agree with more, because he energizes that defense.
Yeah, well, this is awesome too. Paul, a.k.a. Florida Dreamhouse, one of our big super chatters, has this to say. Pewter Report has us covered. They brought us Celsius to keep us energized and healthy, Immuni Financial to get us wealthy for retirement, and the Eric Gross Group Realtors to spread the wealth on a new home in Florida. And that reminds me, the Creamsicle game's up next, and our friends over at the Eric Gross Group have got quite a little contest, not really a contest, but like an enter to win, a raffle, if you will. If you want a Creamsicle Bucs jersey, why not get one for free, right? Well, that's all you have to do is go to the Eric Gross Group Facebook page and like it, and then leave a comment. It could be Go Tampa Bay, Beat Detroit, Pewter Report, whatever you want. And that will enter you into the raffle, and the winner will be drawn for a Creamsicle Tampa Bay jersey, player of your choosing, size of your choosing, on October 14th, 2023. Now, you're not going to have it in time for the game, but it's in the spirit of the Bucs' next game, which is that throwback game. And Eric Gross is not old enough to be a throwback type guy like me, but one thing that I do know about him is he is a seasoned veteran when it comes to real estate. That's why the Eric Gross Group are the official realtors of Pewter Report. Eric knows that it takes a full team effort to win a football game, just like it takes a full team effort to win in real estate. As a Tampa native whose father was stationed at the MacDill Air Force Base, he knows this area like the back of his hand. He and his team have the market knowledge, the top-notch communication, and the commitment to excellent service that sets them apart. Whether you're looking to buy a house in the state of Florida coming from out of state, or maybe you're moving around the state, or maybe you're leaving the great state of Florida, Eric Gross and the Eric Gross Group can help you with both transactions, buying that new house and selling your current one. So it's the one-stop shop for all your real estate needs. Their clients are not just transactions, they're lifelong friends. Don't let the stress of buying or selling a home keep you out of the game. Visit housesinfla.com. That's housesinfla.com. And let Eric Gross and the Eric Gross Group take the pressure off buying or finding a house to buy or sell. And make sure that you're visiting the Eric Gross Group Facebook page, hitting like and leaving a comment to be registered to win a Tampa Bay Creamsicle jersey.
Yeah, shout out Eric Gross Group. Why not? Why not get involved get a chance to win a free creamsicle jersey. I'm so excited. Like, I'm happy for the Bucs. They have a week off. They can get healthy, though. Luke Gedeke didn't sound too happy about having off this weekend, but despite the fact that he's a little banged up. And I know I spoke to Pat O'Connor recently. He was like, because we have like 13 games in a row after that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the healthy guys are happy with it, but are not happy with it. But the injured guys might be a little bit.
Yeah. Pam Jordan got owned by Luke all damn game. Yeah. Cam Jordan, he was running his mouth a lot. And like I told you guys on the Pewter game day pregame show, that little clip of him kind of dissing the Bucs, saying this is not a rivalry between New Orleans and Tampa Bay. It made the rounds at the Advent Health training facility with the Bucs. That they watched that. They weren't really happy about it. So
I feel like Cam Jordan's a little bit more about getting headlines now than making plays in the game.
Yeah, well, I think that he's past his prime. He's still a good player. He's not the great dominant player that he was, and I think the numbers show that. I mean, 4 tackles yesterday. He didn't get completely shut out by Luke Gedeke. I think he won a couple of battles, but Gedeke won the war, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, that was something. I think that was fully on display on the touchdown by Devin Tompkins. That was probably the best pass blocking foray that Tampa Bay had this season from the guys up front. And if that's obviously New Orleans isn't the same defensive front that they once were, it doesn't hold as high, but it's still a great performance.
You Pewter people bringing the heat today, and we are here for it. Daniel King, leave Cam Jordan alone. He has had it hard enough being only able to show off his collection of NFC South Championship T-shirts. That's right. 4 straight NFC South Championship T-shirts and hats. That's all that Cam Jordan has to show for it. He didn't even have a Super Bowl appearance, right? I mean, was he on the... No. He was after Drew Brees and the Saints won in 2006? Is that right?
Yeah, whenever they beat the Colts. I guess he was on that team when the Saints got... Was he on that team when the Saints got screwed over by the Rams? And the Vikings in back-to-back years at home?
Yeah. He was. Yes, he was on both of those teams.
Yeah.
Didn't work out too well. So, but that's okay. I mean, he's got beignets and really good coffee down there, and hurricanes and the drinks, not the actual storms.
Yeah,
and
T-shirts. Tampa is also susceptible to hurricanes.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like the drinks. Bourbon Street.
Right.
Still have a good time down there. Just not going to win the NFC South this year or anytime in the near future. And see, that's the thing, folks. It's like the Saints, we talked about it on the Pewter pregame show, Matt. The Saints mortgaged so much of their future, right? That they couldn't bring back a lot of their defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
The only guy returning on the defensive line, aside from Cam Jordan, is Carl Granderson, who was a backup edge rusher, who's now a starter because Marcus Davenport left.
Yeah.
And Trey Hendrickson left before him. And so I think they kind of put it on Dennis Allen saying, well, you're a good defensive coordinator. You'll figure it out. But all of his star players are old, aging players. Tyrann Mathieu, right? Marshawn Lattimore, who did nothing yesterday. Yeah. Demario Davis, who's getting to be a shell of his former self. Cam Jordan, right? Where is the young, up-and-coming star on that Saints defense? He's not there. And then you've got a quarterback who you gave, $150 million to, or whatever the number was, $60 million guaranteed, and Derek Carr, who is not even the best quarterback in the NFC South.
Plus an offensive line that has struggled this season, plus a running back that's, let's face it, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So, he ain't getting any younger. Plus an injury-prone Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
So, and their starting tight end right now is Jimmy Graham after Juwan Johnson got hurt in the game. So, not looking great for the New Orleans Saints.
No, the arrow's not pointing up for the Saints, and I would not be surprised if in time the Carolina Panthers will be contenders before the New Orleans Saints. And I'm with you, Matt. I'm not really loving what I'm seeing in Atlanta either. I'm not saying
I think Atlanta's good if they can figure out the quarterback situation.
Right.
But that's a huge if. The Bucs dealt with that for a very long time. So it's not just going to happen by the snap of a finger.
Yeah. Pete Carmichael really let Jameis throw an interception on his first play. Jameis, the gift that keeps on giving. So
he
that's
was
good
open.
stuff. Yeah. Well, folks, we have thoroughly enjoyed this Victory Monday. We appreciate all the participation, all the super chats. Matt, I was too busy ranting. I couldn't see a bunch, but we have some international folks as well, right? Denmark was in the house.
Yeah, Denmark was in there. We got people from all over, which is truly, truly great. A lot of different places in the United States as well. So
Jamaica, down there in a bodega with Yaya Diaby.
Yeah, had Britain in the house, had England in the house. So
that's awesome. Good. Folks, we want you to stay glued to pewterreport.com during the bye week. We're going to have a lot of stories. A lot of content is on the way. I've already seen some of the stories in the hopper. It's going to be a fun week, even though there's no games. So just bask in Victory Monday. Make it Victory Tuesday. Make it Victory Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, right? Who doesn't want more Luke Gedeke? Well, we've got it. We've got the most improved Bucs in 2023, and Gedeke is probably that guy, right, on the offensive side. Whoops, there we go. He's there you go. There we go. Okay. He is the guy on the offensive side of the ball. And I think you can say that Zion McCollum, probably that guy on the defensive side of the ball. But we're going to talk about the most improved Bucs. Well, I'm not. I'm going to be in Montana. But Matt is going to be talking about it. Victory week. Let's just call it Victory week. Why not? Let's just have some fun. Week. We got podcasts coming up on Wednesday and Thursday to tickle your Bucs fancy. And was that dirty, what I just said? Maybe not. I don't know. It wasn't meant to be. It sounded a little dirty when I was saying it. But it's some good, clean humor. But we've got content galore. There'll be a new SR's Fab 5 on Friday. We've got some great stories. So hang with us this week, even though there's no game on Sunday to preview. We're going to have a lot of build up into a very, very big creamsicle game, Bucs and Lions, in just less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Still a lot of great stuff to come up from the Bucs. So in the meantime, if you're not already doing so, please follow us on our social media on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. We are at Pewter Report, and then our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV, where we have all different types of content from the podcast to different stuff from practice and press conferences and all that fun stuff. So please like and subscribe to this channel. Help more people find pewterreport.com. Help us grow our YouTube channel. Excuse me. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. Until Wednesday, for Scott Reynolds, who will be in Montana, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you on Wednesday for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast.
Out. Matt, is this a peace symbol or is this V for Victory Monday?
Yeah, victory with 3 wins.